All right, you rise for the pledge of allegiance. Welcome, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. All right, welcome again. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bollran,
Here.
Mr. Blanton,
Here.
Mr. Robinson,
Here. Can I get a motion for the acceptance of the minutes for May 15th, 2024, regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, and also the acceptance of the minutes for the special meeting May 24th, 2024, of the Board of Trustees. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes May 15th and May 24th. Second. Second.
all right. Mr. Bollran,
Yes.
Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes. All right, a motion for the acceptance of the invoices.
Make a motion that we accept the invoices as presented by the fiscal officer. Presented to us by the fiscal officer. I was right by the administrator.
all right. Mr. Bollran,
Yes.
Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
All right, we're going to start off with the sheriff's report. Just so everybody knows, Mr. Brett will be giving the reports for department heads. Since it's a holiday, we did not have to continue the meeting. So, LT.
Good evening, everybody. So, Lieutenant Dan McElroy from County Sheriff Patrol, District 1. From Miami Township in May, there were 311 runs. 228 of those were dispatched. 83 were self-initiated. As far as service exchange, 104 times Miami Township Department requested the help outside of Miami Township. 9 times they responded. 14 of those were disregarded as route. That same month, 135 county car requests into Miami Township. 65 of those were completed, and 70 of those were disregarded from route. We took 9 criminal reports, 6 non-criminal reports, and 5 all action. And as a side note, I'm looking forward to the conflict line. Any questions or?
Did you say you're
I
going
might be dancing.
to be attending?
I might have a conflict.
Okay. Good deal. All right, any questions for the lieutenant? Any questions from the board? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
As a spectator, or as a
Am I working? Okay.
That's what I thought.
If one of the officers, I don't want to take it from them, so they want to, sure. Great.
Okay, we'll go to the administrative report, Mr. Brett.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with the fire department, and when I wrote this initial report for you, we were waiting on the fire department union to get together and make a decision on our offer on the contract. Since then, they have accepted the contract that we presented it to them, so it's available this evening for you guys to discuss and approve later on in the agenda. So I think there were just some very minor changes in that from the next to last one. So I think everybody will be happy with it. It'll be good to get that going moving forward. Bulk water fill station, we're still negotiating please on the location, and I will be meeting with the mayor or at least talking with the mayor and the administrator down there tomorrow about that. Jordan Road water line extension, I have some good news on that. JS Held has got a budgetary estimate for us on the proposed extension. I'm going to have some addresses I'll be emailing you guys to make sure we get as far as we need to get with that. But as of right now, their estimate for the line on Jordan Road and also the line on East Miami, fixing that that line that is exposed to the creek and running alongside the road. The The total cost would be $1,398,500, and that's plus or minus 10%. Village of Cleves, about 450,000 of that is that East Miami River Road part that we would split with the Village of Cleves, so that would reduce our number by 225,000. So that's good news. The time frame,
This from the waterworks, Cincinnati Waterworks.
please.
Please bid.
The projected time frame, they're telling us if we put this out to bid, from bid to finish would be about 5 months. So ideally, we could put this out to bid next month and have it done before Thanksgiving.
And that's our goal.
That would be our goal. We're gonna have a talk in the next week or so with Hamilton County to see if they want to work with us on some bank stabilization and resurfacing there. And if they're not going to do the resurfacing that we're hoping they will, our cost may go up about $25,000 for a better blacktop material for the open cuts. But I'm hoping that Fred Slim has indicated that he'd like to work with us on that and do it all at one time. I'll update you on that. Nuisance and zoning in place. I have one property to declare a nuisance this evening on your agenda later on. We're going to make a few changes to our process so that what we're doing technically meets the Ohio Revised Code, however, does not meet Ohio case law in most cases. So the folks at Ross Brown and Todd have recommended that we basically just, instead of just posting and sending them a certified letter, we have to have a picture of the posting with a date and time stamp on it. And we have to give them 7 days after we post that to actually clean up the property once we get to that point.
Post it where?
On the property, because if they don't pick up the certified mail,
It's private.
Yeah.
How about
we're gonna post it on something on the property, on a post, on a tree, on a mailbox, somehow or another. I'm supposed to find a way to post it on the property. So,
This doesn't sound right to me,
no,
because it's not our property.
yeah. So, but it's the same as posting an eviction notice or notice.
I'm fine with it. If our attorneys are saying that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do.
They're the ones who are saying we need to do it. So we're gonna do that and follow what they're telling us to make sure we dot our i's, cross our t's.
Is now the time for that discussion? To discuss that, or you can do that later? Because wait till.
I'd like to wait till later on because we do have some guests to talk about camera door lock systems. So I have referred several properties to Hamilton County Zoning Department. And Kim Day has been helping in pitching in on the nuisance and zoning complaints, and without her, we'd be further behind than we are now. So thank you, Kim. We've also notified the owners of some vehicles on township property down in Marshall that they need to remove their cars. If not, they're going to be towed. Sergeant Carney and another deputy, I'm sorry, I don't know Devin's last name.
Who is that?
Devin? Yeah, I just know him by Devin. But anyway, they were both out there, looked at the property with me, and
That's Darren.
Darren, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bernard.
There you go, that's
A little easier if I get it right.
fine.
So,
That's fine, under.
yeah. So we're gonna try to get 2 different prices to clean up that lot, and then we'll try to put up a cable or something to keep people from being able to back in there and dump that. And then we need to decide how we want to dispose of that property, but we're going to get it cleaned up first. Whispering Farms drilled shaft wall. They got some good news yesterday on that. They had a project fall through at Scherzinger Drilling. He called me yesterday and said, hey, he said we could start anytime, right? And I said, yeah. And they said, how about tomorrow morning we start moving stuff in? And I said, great. So They're moving in today. They're gonna start tomorrow. So that's good. The tennis court resurfacing has begun. So I stopped down, looked at what they did yesterday, talked with them this morning and drove by this afternoon, and it looks, I really don't know that I know enough to know that it's what needed to be done, but it looks like it's going really well. And they said it was, so that's good news. And just a note on the scrap tire cleanup day, we had an issue with the dumpster deliveries with Rumpke. Rumpke took responsibility for the mistake. They said it was not Hamilton County Resources problem, it was theirs. So even though they didn't get us dumpsters, they had us stack the tires on the parking lot, and they are coming to get them. And they took a look at it and estimated that we have over 600 scrap tires.
Did they get those today?
I didn't drive back by there, over by the tennis courts and Whispering Farms on my way back in, but I didn't get by there. So hopefully they got it.
Drive by there.
So,
Because they need them out of there.
yeah, I will see.
So
So,
the dumpster was supposed to be there Friday, but then it was Saturday, they were supposed to pick it up. And move it Tuesday.
yeah,
So,
and,
They
Believe me.
won't charge. They won't charge.
well, we were getting that through Hamilton County
Yeah, that's
Resource
true.
for a
yeah,
grant,
great.
but, about 2:30, I contacted Ronnie and said, hey, did they put the dumpsters in there yet? And he's like, no. And I thought they would have been here by now. So we started calling the county, and we started calling Rumpke, and I just had a bad feeling when they weren't there by 2:30. So, but we got things worked out. So it's not costing us in the county any.
They're not picked up, we have to have them picked up tomorrow.
They promised me today, well, they actually promised me Monday. And then they called Monday and said be today, so we'll follow up with it. And that's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
All right, Jim, do you want to go to the presentation now for
Yeah.
the camera and door lock system?
Yeah, we have Alex from Ricotta and John from the LBL, is it LB? LBF, who does the installation of the product, so.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Meta. I'm executive here at Ricotta. Ricotta, well, the reason I'm here today is because the past few months we've been working with Tim on a security camera for Ricotta is a physical security company. We exist to protect people and property in a privacy-centric way. Now, today we work with a little over 150 school districts in Ohio, the area that includes Bronx, New Miami, Belleville, Creek districts. In terms of municipalities, we work with a little over 50. Now, in the area that includes the city of Cincinnati, St. Bernard, Wilmington, Springdale as well. Now, the idea of Ricotta was to create an ecosystem where our customers can manage their security cameras, access control, alarms, whatever it may be, under a single roof, ultimately making it easy for you guys to manage and control everything, but ultimately make it more efficient and effective at protecting the community that they're here. Now, I'm here today as a resource, any questions you guys might have. I did bring my laptop today, so if you guys want to see further detail and what we have to offer, I'm more than happy to walk you guys through that. But in short, everyone has security systems. You know, regardless of the building, our job is to make it easy for you guys to protect those facilities, but also the community right here. Yeah.
So one of the things we've been talking with Jim about is with the community hall, we've got people being able to access it and unlock it without having to show up, control, access to the fire department, or only open up the community hall. Our door lock system is about that. I think that's one of the biggest things that you were interested in being.
That's correct, and the fact that our current system is not working properly, it's not unlocking when it's supposed to, and not locking when it's supposed to, so.
One of the things that's great about Ricotta for communities is there's really no additional cost after you buy. I have 5 or 10 year license. And what you see on the paper is that if something goes down, they drop it in the mail, replace it immediately. There's no further cost, there's no more add-ons or anything like that. You buy a 5-year license.
No upgrades, nothing like that.
Well, and so let's say that the software changes and they come up with a new. They automatically upload it to your camera, so you'll wake up first you grow up. You'll wake up with it. So the same stuff that's going on the day. Correct.
And I will say, a huge reason why so many municipalities stay versus on it is because of how predictable principal cost of ownership is. You know, on day one, you're going to see 2 line items. There's the hardware cost, which for the hardware you pay for on day one, you're 10 years. So if anything breaks, anything happens, and it's not something that we can fix remotely, which we can 99% of the time, then we'll drop the new camera next day, much of that. Now, for the software portion, again, you hit on day one, and however long the license is, you will pay $1 more until it expires. Where in that case, you're just paying for the license. Now, with the license, what you're getting is automatic firmware software updates. So regardless of what product you have, the day you buy it will be the first thing for you. We're constantly pushing out new upgrades and updates, and that's completely free for all of our customers. And you have 24/7 live support for based here in the United States. You have support on the manufacturer side, and also on the integrator side. We do all of our business through the local integrators here in Ohio to keep everything in the local economy, so you have boots on the ground whenever you.
Pretty much it.
Pretty high level.
What's the hardware?
Hardware, right now,
Is it a router?
No, so this is a hybrid cloud system, so it just connects to the internet. On the cameras, the amount of storage that you have is determined by whatever package you buy, 30 days, 180 days.
So there's no physical hardware.
You don't have to have DVRs or cameras here on site. Super nice, but you have cloud storage, and that's available to you unlimited for as long as you've got a license. So if you have 1 million clips up there, you can access those for no additional charge. They don't charge you because you have more storage.
So it's just mainly software investment.
it's just the device themselves, the security camera itself, the access control itself. Well, that's all you need, and you can access anything, anywhere, anytime, any place. I understand talking to Jim, one of the things that was of interest was the community center, having access to a remotely used security players, but also maybe a remotely used for access data, understanding who's in your facility and that.
Yeah, I know they've been in the process with the current software.
What is the, you see on here, there's, 30-day max, you're mentioning, every 90, what is the cost difference, something like that? And then I also see that this is a 5-year license. What's the cost of 5-year versus 10-year?
Yeah, so we sent over Jim the possible the different license structures.
It's in the packet on your, right?
But typically what you'll see is as you go to license, you pay less on a year-by-year basis. Now, in terms of what you get with those licenses, there's no difference. You get all the same features. You're just deciding how long budget this is. Very good.
So are you guys putting in new cameras? Or are you using the ones that are current?
The new cameras.
New cameras, one of the things that we were looking at is right now we can't break out, if we want to let the fire department see just the fire department stuff. We want to let the community center see just their stuff. We have to let everybody see everything because our system is old and antiquated. So with this, we can assign, if I want to let you see one camera at home, I can assign a camera that you can look at. We'll be able to, and this was kind of neat. They actually had a software update that came out between the time I did the initial look at their presentation and when Mike Taylor sat and did it last week. So it was really neat to see that upgrade become available. But one of the things that that we like is the cameras and the door systems can work together. So when there's movement at the door, the camera will pick that up. Mr. Bolrath had asked about some type of coverage for the walking trail. And while we were talking about the walking trail, we talked about the ballpark. So they recommended a camera that'll tilt, zoom, pan, tilt, zoom. For that area, they showed us one that's on a building of theirs. And I would bet that you could zoom into the farthest part of our walking trail, if it's not hidden by the trees, and get a picture that you could identify somebody
I
with.
think the way you looked at was, it had a view of 600 feet.
That's right.
So two football field lengths.
But we just recently put cameras down there, correct?
No, we don't have
Oh,
any.
we did put.
I'm talking about out behind the building here.
Oh, I'm talking about.
One of the other things that I think we talked to you about was the ability, like we're talking about, to assign permissions. So let's say somebody stops working here for whatever reason. They've had permissions, you can literally turn it off, you don't have to make their keys, change locks. It's just their permissions are taken away and no longer have access to. And that gives you a level of security that you currently don't have.
And to put it into perspective, it's more difficult to illustrate without visual, but with the reconnaissance system, if there's, say, a incident here at the community center, and with the click of a button, you can actually share a floor plan of this building with law enforcement, and they can have access to that footage or that floor plan for however long you feel comfortable with, and they can go in there, click into the different cameras that are deployed here, the different doors that you guys have, but they have visual context of what it is they're walking into, so they're best prepared to handle the situation. And that's basically what we're getting at with, how the different products integrate with one another. They talk to each other, so everything runs more efficiently in case of a real emergency.
You also, when you were talking with Jim and I, you also said that it's integrated with law enforcement for other purposes as well, for camera recognition or.
Yeah, we have person of interest notification. So, if there's been an individual who has been in this area and, there's an incident with them, so you want to be made aware whenever they're back here, what you can do is upload a picture of them to the system. And what that'll do is whenever any of the different recording cameras identify that individual, they'll send you a notification via email, text, whatever it is.
To whoever you want. So it can just go to LT, or it can just go to Jim. And that person can take the action that's required.
So that's a face recognition system, right?
That's a huge reason why a lot of school districts in particular like working with us, because it makes it easier for them to work with the local department. Because when working with the municipality, it's a lot easier for everyone to work effectively when they're aware of whatever systems the school district, whatever system the department is in.
Yeah.
And it's the same language, they're able to address issues quickly or effectively.
You said it's basically a 10-year warranty.
It's
The full thing. We think you swear you're not going to out of business. This company is definitely rock solid. They have 1,600 employees. They've been in business for 6 years, 7 years, 7 years now.
If you guys ever want to see, what a recording looks like, we work with a ton of municipalities and school districts in the area that would gladly have you guys on site to work the facility and show them what they're accomplishing.
I think the closest school district happened to be Ross, local. And I think who else was close by, but Amberley Village, Sharonville. I know that Sharonville, I talked with them, they're very happy with the system. One of the things that, I can't remember if John shared this with me or Eric. They had a school district that said what I said about, well, we'll probably never need that recognition feature. And he shared a story with me about a school district in Kentucky that somebody thought they had somebody come into an event with a gun. And they were actually able to identify the person. They went to his Facebook page, pulled his picture, which was probably an older picture, but it still recognized him. They were able to pull from every camera, every shot that he was in, and rather than just going after him and tackling him, thinking he had a gun, they finally got a shot of him and identified what the person thought was a gun, was just a large OtterBox case for their phone. So it can be that, it was that impressive of a demonstration.
It's also very handy in a school situation. That's what we're talking about today, but let's say you've got a family that's going through a divorce and one of the parents has a TRO against them, temporary restraining order. And you don't want that parent to pick up the child at the school. When they show up on campus, they can notify the SRO at the school that, hey, don't let this kid go because the wrong person's here. That's important stuff. We're all with that.
And one of the things I liked is our cameras that would be near the roadways. We have one proposed for the front of this building. We could go ahead and share any of those with the sheriff's department. Mike has met with the Captain Minnick you met with about the clock camera system they have here. Our cameras could be integrated into that system seamlessly for them. There's a lot of upsides, and we're at a point where we're spending a lot of money on maintenance, and the response time, especially on the door locks, has been poor. So that's what kind of drove us to start looking for this type of system.
Okay, so what do you recommend? That's what I'm asking you. So is what you have in here, the quantity, the amount, the license, the door controllers, everything?
Now you need to go to the camera beside you.
No.
Yeah.
That's just. I'm sorry. 58,635.
That's
Final finish guys are broken out. It's hardware, licensing, also.
Right. Well, that's what I'm asking you.
I don't
I
know if you're thinking of maybe taking action tonight. I was just gonna ask whether there's something. And that's what I would.
I really wanted you guys to just hear about it and then take it and digest it, but
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is that
Yeah.
you're just recommending this and we're just discussing it as an
Yeah.
overview tonight?
yeah, I'm not expecting you to take any action on it tonight.
Okay.
Just tie into the other fire.
This doesn't include the cameras there, but it will eventually. I didn't want to have them go to every location and do everything if we weren't going to be interested in it. And quite honestly, I've been through a lot of companies before I found them, and when I found this and talked to the people at Sharonville, and they love what it does, that kind of led me to them, and I recommend this. It's a lot of money, we can phase it in, or we can do it all at once, and I'm sure they'll be glad to give us a price on everything. But this was just to get us started. It does do all the doors that we do.
Okay,
You
I
know.
love the idea, especially with the face recognition. Identification,
Not only face recognition, you can actually say, a male in a blue shirt, and it'll pick out every male with a blue shirt.
So can we use the TIP money to do this?
Yeah, this would be a TIF money expense.
You got any more questions, Tim? Mr. Robertson, any more questions?
So I would just like for us to talk about it in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
And we're happy to make ourselves available if you guys, after you talk about it, like to see a demo. We can set up a Zoom, get you guys all in front of us, you can see it in action. And I can promise you, every time we show it to someone, they have that, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Is
idea.
this kind of stuff they have in New York City and government? Excuse me, is like New York City has all those cameras.
Sure. I mean, this is, and it's definitely camera technology, but I don't feel like it's quite as big brother-ish as what they have in New York where they're watching every
Yeah, the TV said like that.
Yeah, net with Sandra Bullock.
The
Yeah,
needs
it's
reflect the
serious.
need. I mean, do the means reflect the need that, are we experiencing a heavier
We're-
problem than normal that they need to go to that extent.
We're experiencing a problem at the expense of maintaining what we have now, which is not giving us all the information and all the coverage that we're looking for. We can't assign who can, if we give somebody access to the cameras, we have to give them everything. So we can't separate that out. We can't share the cameras with law enforcement. And, so there's a lot of pluses to
But you
this.
said you can't.
We cannot.
No.
They can't
Right
currently,
now.
we'll be able to with ours.
It's an in-house system.
With this, we can, Mike, go ahead.
How long, so if we decided, I'm gonna bring it with you guys, what's the time frame for installing and getting it up and running?
I mean, I have a installer in this area structured. I would have to look at their calendar, but they can usually do it relatively fast. I'm always reluctant to give a hard and fast number. Sure. Until I look at their calendar. They've been installing Ricotta for years. They know what they're doing. They're a platinum partner.
You say 2 months, 6 months, 3 months?
Right now, I have a budget with Whitehall City Schools office. They're deploying about 400 cameras, 80 doors, and a few intercoms. And total duration for that project is including last week. So I believe that Miami Township is looking, sub 50 cameras. So I can imagine it would take
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because also you need to do this, it's a power version that it's like Cat6 cable going to the location. And it's online and it's a separate device.
Are there any grants, guys, that we can get to?
That's one of the things that LBF does, my company, is if there are grants that are available, we try and help identify them, we negotiate with the buying co-ops in the state, try and make sure that we're getting the price that everybody else is paying. Municipalities.
So you'll help them out with grants.
If there are any available currently today, there were not. But as you guys all know, that changes.
And we really are hopeful that there'll be some grants, especially because we're covering the firehouses.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. Brad, are you gonna read into the record the department heads? We're gonna handle this.
It'll take a long. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know that we need to. I would like to just, get the highlights for the fire department, because I think that's what most people are concerned about. There are, my glasses out. So for the month of May, we had, 193 total runs, in Miami Township, we had 110, North Bend had 16, Leeds had 44, and Addison had 23. Fire prevention wise, they did inspections of 2 in Addison, 6 in Cleves, 2 in Miami Township, 2 in North Bend. They flushed the majority of the hydrants that are out there. 47 in Addison, 160 in Cleves, 749 in our township, and 91 in North Bend. So they pretty much hit all the hydrants. And unless you have any questions, I think we're good to go on that. The senior center report is their normal, what they did last month. I did not receive anything from Ms. Rovers. Mr. Hughes reported that no accidents or injuries have been reported to his office. And he held a safety committee meeting with all the department heads on 6/14. The maintenance department was unable to get there because they were tied up and working, and they got nothing from parks. On the camera system and door locks, after I did my research, I set up a meeting for them with Mike Taylor, and he was impressed with the system. this is, of all the things we've looked at, this system, he liked the best, plus it's expandable and cloud-based, so we won't have hardware issues moving forward, so he's in favor of that. And that pretty much takes care of what I have from our department heads.
And I ask one question, how much did we spend on?
On
Doing the road? Yeah,
our Strasser contract was about 240,000. We approved about 35,000 in repairs by Hendy to curbs, and then we have some full depth resurfacing we need to do that Ronnie's still identifying, getting prices on. So we're probably gonna end up spending,
about 500 next year.
Or at least 500.
yeah, we're probably gonna be more at 400 this year.
That's good.
So.
All right, so the reports from business.
Yeah.
So for the consideration approval first reading of procurement policy.
Mr. Bullrich had some suggested changes to that, so I'd like to make those, and if anybody else has anything, we can act on that next month. The procurement purchasing policy.
Procurement policy.
Perfect, I've got two as well.
Great, so I'll gather those together and we'll
Table that.
table that till next month. You want me to fit out the line?
Yeah.
So we have a proposal from Bear Becker for professional services for the West Park parking lot. Like the additional parking that we discussed last month. And right behind the old business in your packet. So on page 3 of, you get to the, make sure I don't get to the wrong one. There we go. Page 3 of 9 in the second section. Is there, he did not give us a total invoicing, but he gave us a breakdown of the invoices. $19,250 for construction drawings, $3,490 for permitting, $3,480 for bid documents, and allowances for construction staking, administration, and meetings would be $11,720. So I realized he didn't put that all together. Let me add that up for you real quick. $37,940 total.
This is for the park.
This is for the new parking facility at West Park.
37.9 what?
37,940.
Just his services.
Yeah, just for the design, construction drawing, all the permitting, takeout, and that last 11,000 is an allowance. So if they don't use all that, we will pay all that.
All right, we're just gonna approve, or bring it up for motion to approve 37,940 even. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I'll make a motion so we can move forward with the parking lot at 37,940 for their own budget. I'll second.
Discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, sorry, discussion.
I will say that, so do we know how much, do we have an estimate for the actual? Okay,
I thought we did have it, Jim, wasn't it? 225 to
So it was 225,000 is what Mark's initial estimate was to put it in.
225,000.
And that would include his 38,000.
That's part of that, or?
That would be part of that, yeah.
Part of this.
Yeah.
It's about 200,000.
2 years.
Well, 225 including this.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else.
I will just sort of give everyone the heads up that I will be voting against all expenditures related to this project. I will also indicate that if we were sharing the cost with the school district, that I would be voting for it because I think it's a good thing. I think it benefits us and benefits the school district. My objection is that we're paying the entire cost for something that the majority of the benefit, I believe, goes to the school district. So if we were splitting the cost, I'd go yes, but I would be voting on this and any other expenditures for that. So just want to thank you.
Any discussion? So rebuttal with that, I'll give everybody a brief update. So the township is paying the money like it's correct, Mr. Wilson's correct about that. The school is, they're not donating the land. We are getting the land for $1 a year for 30 years or 50 years, one or the other, Mr. Brent.
Right.
So their contribution, the school's contribution is the land with no excess money that comes from the township. And that land with this parking lot that's gonna go on, butts up to Miami Township property. Everybody's aware of that. So that's where we're at. Any more discussion?
So we just we follow over them. So, but they have one thing with the land since we built West Park, and they have no plans to utilize the land, and they want this parking lot. So it benefits them to use this part of this land, their land, for this parking lot that they want, they benefit from. So I understand the point you're making, but I'll just want they're accepting this with open arms and thrilled about us paying for it, and that they get the benefit of it. So
And we get the benefit of it also.
correct.
So the people that utilize our park, we also get the benefit of it. The school is over 700 yards away, maybe 1,000 yards away. So
And I
We
said I
just-
was looking for it if we were sharing the cost.
you're looking at it one way, I'm looking at it. So I think it's a very big benefit to our Miami Township residents and to our park. So we have a motion, we have a first and a second.
Mr. Volrick?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
All right, Mr. Brett?
Next is the, I got the 5 minutes. The agreement with Bearbecker for the West Park expansion, that would be the new soccer fields, either a small or a medium-sized softball field. Baseball field, no soccer, I'm sorry. And parking area will be total compensation for what they're looking for professional services, including aerial images and a base map, basic understanding, alternatives, refinements, and meetings is $42,000. This will not get us construction drawings, but it will get us everything we need to get to that point.
All right, any discussion from the board?
Do we have already approved an agreement to utilize their services, Bearbecker services for this? I know we've been using it nonstop, but have we already signed a contract or approved to have them come and
We did,
be the sole provider?
we did in 2023. This is the first step toward they did the design, it's not permanent, so the board still has to look at that, agree on what all that is. Mr. Woolworth, Steve and I have seen it, 5 committee members. This is just the first step moving forward. Because, after I don't know when it was. But we did that in 2023, and this is the first step moving forward for the West Park division.
So you said you and trustee Bowler have seen it, the 5 committee members.
We've seen plans. That's all we've seen. We're going to present them with
Yeah,
you,
okay, good.
Jim, or Jim.
Right,
This
that's what
was all
I'm
back
saying.
in
That's what I'm
2023.
saying. Yeah, when would we, the rest of the board, need to see?
I thought we had the plans.
We do. We have them.
There's a one-page
They've been in our
overview
office.
in the office.
And they're
But they
subject
do
to
have that.
change. They're subject to change. There is nothing to. It's ideas from the committee that they put in writing and drawings, so we have something to go on. And then this is the next step beyond that, so we can move forward. You got any discussion?
Yeah, please, we'll just wait for
For the extension. Park this-
Parking area, walking through.
Correct.
My question is, if we're putting parking up there by schools, we need more parking.
This will be at the other end.
Yes, it's at the other end of our park.
Towards Jordan.
And I guess, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but if we're continue to dedicate more and more money and resources and spending time on these engineering and basically, again, I've made this argument in the past, we just keep, it's like a drip and a drip and a drip and a drip and a drip, you know, if you just keep spending on, 42,000 here, 19,000 here, whatever else. And then eventually you're basically already committed to doing whatever. When I would like the board to be able to get an update on the current, as you just said, there, it's always changing and everyone's considering this, considering that, talking about this idea. Let's see what we're potentially, at least at this time, the best to the best of our knowledge, planning to do, and then say, okay, that sounds good. I could be on board with that, or at least in general or close to it. Then maybe I'm more comfortable with approving, 42,000 and 57,000, 19,000, whatever, because we just keep putting inching further and further down the field where it's like, oh, feel like we'll be on the 10-yard line and everybody will go, well, we're already, made it 90 yards down the field. We might as well punch it into the end zone. At this point where I don't know, I think we're putting the cart before the horse a little bit of. We're committing more and more to it. I'm not against it, but I don't know what I'm for or against. I don't, I don't know whether to vote for or against it because I'm not sure what the end game is. I'm not sure what the overall plan is.
Well, the overall plan is to extend the park, which we started over 6 years ago before your arrival, with purchasing 2 lots, and then we purchased 13 more acres. So the overall plan goes back 6 years ago.
Sure.
So we've got that done. We hired Bear and Becker. We have preliminary drawings, and this is the next step of those drawings. Those drawings have been in our office for probably 9, 10 months.
So what you said is it's always changing. And so
This has nothing to do with it. This is the next step that Bear and Becker needs from Miami Township so they can move forward.
but when I
We're on a 10-yard line or a 50-yard line. We are committed to developing West Park Extension. That's why we bought the property.
correct,
That's why we're moving forward.
but saying that we're committed to a West Park expansion, whatever. I agree, and I don't remember if I voted for anything to expand it. When are we going to expand it, and how much are we going to dedicate it to that? I mean, are we going to build a Taj Mahal on it, and it's going to be $15 million? Are we going to spend $2 million? Are we going to spend $8 million? I don't know. And well, depending on if If it's 15 million or 2 million or 8 million or 20 million, well, again, we'll shoot. Again, I've said this before. I love Lamborghini. I'm never gonna own a Lamborghini because when you tell me it's $100,000, okay, I don't get that. I don't know whether I'm gonna buy a Lamborghini or not until I know how much it costs. I don't know if I'm gonna buy a Chevy or not until I know how much it's gonna cost. Well, we keep saying we're committed to doing it. Well, what is it? You say we're committed to expanding it or extending it. With what? And how much does that cost? Are there ball fields? Are there parks? Is there parking lot? Are there walking trails? All that, plays into what it is, what that expansion is. And again, you're saying, let's just spend a little bit more here, spend a little bit more, spend a little bit more here.
It's not a little bit, it's the next step in the process.
But to
And
know,
again, the plans have been in our office for over 10 months.
Bear Becker here earlier. And then what?
and they threw out a bunch of ideas and everybody said that this might change and that might change and we might not look at this, we might move this over here and everything else.
But that might be
And
true.
I didn't get a number with
There
that.
is no number. We know without specifying, we, tell me when we built, the original West Park, was it 6 million? It was 6 million. So we're looking at.
This is all the steps.
Ballpark that we're gonna spend.
Have they ever came up with the total, what they're looking at for the plan? You can kind of have a know what the total plan would be when they develop it.
We have.
What?
Yeah, this is the next step for what they need, so we can move forward with it. We'll have construction costs in the future, but based off of what we did, and we haven't got it from there, but it'll be anywhere from $1 million to 2.5 or 3, somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure, but we're committed to moving forward with it.
With an extension,
Yes, but the extension. That's all we're talking
right? Okay, so now you're saying somewhere between one, which helps.
about.
at least put it in
I'm
perspective.
not
If you
saying
have
what
three,
it is. I don't know.
you just told Cindy that you.
No.
So I can tell
I'm
you,
basing it off of what we paid for Westport 9, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
I can tell you, a lot of the plans in there is that the need for ballparks, right? We need for ballparks. Talk about the difference between the Taj Mahal and here, we're not putting water down there, we're not doing sewage, it's not cost effective for what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. So we're trying to get the field center, their playable use. They're jammed up.
Well, and I appreciate that, at least sharing that little bit too, but I feel like you guys have been on the committee, the two of you are having all these discussions, I'm flying blind and, other than, some renderings that you say are in flux, it could change at any time, but, so I appreciate that.
So I'm not saying it could change it if we need to change it. That's all I was saying. So, all right, I'll make a motion that we move forward with 42,000 even for Baron Becker, so we can move forward with West Park extension.
Second.
All right, Mr. Bollard, Mr. Blanton,
Yes,
Mr. Robinson,
I'm gonna vote yes, because I would like to get to a point where we can get some numbers, and actually make some decisions.
all right, new business, Mr. Brad.
So we've been asked to update our gas aggregation agreement with. Gosh, no,
I just need you.
yeah.
I didn't.
So, they're recommending that we let them negotiate a price and that, you would approve Dan Reed to okay a price for 36 months. which would still be available if Dan was still here, but because I'm here and not Dan, our legal counsel thought we should update that. They're recommending a 12-month period for this because the gas prices are in such flux. So the new agreement, resolution 2024-07, authorizes the administrator to enter into a natural gas agreement after a consultation with Mr. Robeson, because apparently he did that the last time. So you feel comfortable in doing that? We'd like to do that this evening.
And this was done, if you remember, with Administrator Reed, because literally I mean, they might call and say, hey, in the next 2 hours, we've got this price locked in, and but we've got to make a decision one way or the other, and I can't wait till the next time. So I guess my only thing should, and hopefully Mr. Bradford here for a long time, but should we just make it administrative? Or did our council think that it was good to designate you? Also, with 12 months, does that hurt our ability to negotiate if there was something that we could get at a lower rate, if it's, 18 months or 24 months or something?
Right now, like, redid mine is 3.99, and we were a lot higher. It's the same company.
So what this would do is it would allow me to make this decision now and make any changes in the next 12 months after consulting with, obviously I would let everybody know. I guess they just wanted to have at least one trustee that would, sign off and say, yes, I authorize Jim to do this. So if something better comes on down the line for an extension within that 12-month period, we can do it. If not, then we'll have to redo something like this for the year.
And then we have to redo it the year.
If they want to make a change.
All right,
So if they don't want to make a change, then we're fine.
any discussion? All right, are you making the resolution?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept and adopt resolution number 2024-07, resolution authorizing administrator to enter into a natural gas aggregation.
I will second.
Mr. Volrath? Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Next on our agenda is resolution 2024-08, resolution declaring 5454 Wing Avenue as a nuisance for high graduate education, also for the removal of junk, garbage, refuge, and other debris from the land. As I mentioned earlier, the process with this will be, we will send the owner a certified letter. We will post a notice in the, our legal counsel giving me the correct wording for that, so that we're using what's acceptable. And we should be able to get that letter out in the mail tomorrow, and I should be able to post this sometime tomorrow, as soon as I figure out how to do a time and date stamp on my iPhone camera. So I got as far as you can do it, I just haven't figured out how yet.
All right, do we have a motion for resolution 2024-08?
Make a motion that we accept and adopt resolution number 2024-08, declaring 5454 Wayne Avenue.
Mr. Volrath? Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Next on the agenda, resolution 2024-09. That is to proceed with submitting the question of a renewal and tax increase for fire protection, be a renewal of 3.5 mils and an increase of 3 mils that amounts to $189 for each $100,000 county auditor's appraised value for a term of 5 years. So this is the amount.
This
you
is just
discussed.
the next step that we have to do. It was approved from the county. What we sent in, so this is the next step, so once this is approved, we can take everything to board elections and turn it.
Any discussion? Mr. O'Rourke?
I will make a motion to accept resolution for,
Second.
Mr. Volrath?
yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Next Next is resolution 2024-10. To proceed with submitting the question for renewal of the tax levy for police protection. This is for a rate of 0.5 mils for every $1 taxable value, which amounts to $12 per $100,000 county auditors appraised value for a term of 5 years.
That's what we do for the fire.
Please.
Please, sorry.
Renewal,
Renewal, no additional.
no addition, renewal. All right, Mr. Riverson,
Discussion, so I'm happy to make a motion, but make sure that everybody is in this. Well, I know that Mr. Brett met with the village of Cleves. What I understand, I had a discussion about that. But hopeful that, so this isn't the contract, this is just renewing, putting it on the ballot, but that I can't imagine that the village would won't get paying less money to negotiate actually within, under the proposal to be less. In general, we got a positive feedback from the village of North Bend saying that they would anticipate getting approval there. And I still don't have any update as to the village of Madison. I think that again, this is a big win to not have to increase the police levy at the same time we're increasing fire levy, and so we would actually get more police coverage and do it within our levy. So,
I think the one thing we should note is the Village of Police has already signed the current proposal from the sheriff's office. The new proposal that Mr. Robinson and I went down and talked with them about spreads out the roll-in time and also gives us at the end of a 6-year period a chance to look at the number of cars that are actually needed. So while the sheriff currently is saying we need 3 cars, at the end of that 6 years, we would be paying for 2. And then they'll revisit it and say, all right, the calls for service justify 3, or they justify 2, or maybe it justifies 5. We'll know more in 6 years. So while I can't imagine that we did not go with the intention of negotiating for the other communities, but the administration at the county said they would like to keep the percentages the same and the amount the same. So it actually ends up being a savings for the Village of Cleves, but I would assume if they chose not to go with this agreement and pay more, that the county would accept more from them. So.
so right now, we're just considering the renewal and the resolution.
Yeah, I was gonna put on the agenda for next month to discuss that, please.
This has nothing to do with the contract.
No, nothing to do. And
Well,
So I know that, just make it clear to.
I'd like to put that on the agenda for next.
I do hope the contract is real.
No, I know. it's
Yeah,
real.
you guys got my, based on the new
Tons of
contract,
questions.
if we sign, right?
I think I would like to discuss that at next month's meeting. I think we'll have a little more information on the contract itself.
Okay. All right,
so anything else? I'll make a motion that we approve and adopt resolution number 2024-10 to continue to keep or do a renewal of tax levy for the police.
second,
Mr. Ballray? Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
yes.
And final thing under new business that I have is we need to set a time for the tax budget hearing, which is we need to do sometime before our next meeting. So the suggested time would be 15 minutes before our meeting on July the 17th at 5:45 here at the administration building. And you want to talk about what the tax budget?
Yeah, you guys, what you're doing this, it's a forecast. It's a 5-year forecast. It's not the budget we approve in January. It's just more of a, Jim's been through it for many years. I love it because that's when you guys, we have the money for the levies, or we're So it shows the 4 years prior, it shows us 5 years ahead. It's basically goes to the county for their records to make sure we're on the right track. So it's, like I said, it's a 5-year budget. We do have a public hearing that night. And I'm basically done with it. I told him today, I need him to look at it.
I refer to it as something that's somewhat antiquated because the purpose of this is to submit it to the county budget commission so that we can justify that we need the levies that we have. And while I say there may be some jurisdictions, like maybe, I'm just conjecturing, in Indian Hill or Amberley Village that have so much money they really don't need it. Then the budget commission can reduce that levy amount. That's not a problem for us, not a problem for any of our neighbors, but, you know, there are places out there that have levies that are larger than what they need, and this justifies our spending to the budget commission. They'll review it, make sure that we're spending it properly, and,
They have never come back, you know, and question anything.
Yeah.
But it's just a process we have to do.
So the tax budget hearing is July 17th.
Yeah, like at 5:45. We normally in the past have always done it during our meeting, but he said it. So I don't really.
yeah, technically it should be separate. So if we can just be here 15 minutes early, we do need to make sure that at least 2 of you will be here for that meeting.
Yeah, and I was good. So I just looked at my calendar and, I don't know that I've missed, I think I missed one because of childcare or something, like, I don't know that I missed any meetings, but my in-laws, scheduled a family vacation that week. I'd like to stay married, so, I might go on vacation. But I
No,
more
it's more
interested in
requested.
the discussion, Jim, that you said about the police.
We can do that in August.
Us, as we get on this meeting.
I'm not in a hurry to get them more money.
I'm okay with this,
Don't put that in the minute.
yeah, missing that. but-
Tim and I will be.
Yep.
You need to do that.
All right.
So,
Go ahead and set that.
So we don't need to approve it. We just need to.
That's what I said. We'll go.
We don't need
we
to.
do have public notices. So it'll be in the Inquirer, the wording for that's already done, so we'll get that sent in.
All right, you all set with new business?
That's all I have, sir.
All right, public comments, if you'd like to come up, you can come up to the podium. If you want to readdress the water line station, or you want to talk to Mr. Rhodes,
Yeah, I'd like.
we talked about it.
We
all.
covered it, you want to,
We'll
make
just
it over
meet
with
with
you
you
after?
afterwards, she'll meet with both of you afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay?
Just what's going on? I mean,
Um,
it's been a couple of months,
Yeah, we're,
backed off, left.
we had a couple,
Sure. Kirk, let's do this. After the meeting, we will meet with you and Mike, okay? Because we went over it, prior to you guys walking in. We'll be glad to talk to you about it. Say exactly what's going on. Okay, and I will show you what we have. I'll show you. All right, anything else from the public?
Yeah, one more thing. How long's the tire benefit gonna be over at the fire station?
It's,
I know the dumpsters didn't come in yet.
you know, they were supposed to pick them up today, and at the latest, hopefully tomorrow, they were supposed to go Monday, and they did not.
Yeah,
So, if
so
there's
as long as
no,
the tires are still there, it's okay to dump more tires off?
I don't know.
if they're still there, if you'll stack them about 4 or 5 high, then yes, if they're gone, you missed the opportunity.
Oh, I got a buddy on. Drop some off.
I think,
So it's supposed to be limited to
Oh,
township residents,
Mike,
but-
yeah.
check IDs,
but,
where you live.
since they're late picking them up and we get credit for RRI credit, if you bring them over, put them in, that would be fine.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Moreland.
Yeah, one other thing, I noticed that we're talking about the West Park development. Where does that put the park down at the old firehouse at Buffalo Ridge? How is that in the making drawings? Is that
That's
being
out,
pushed back?
That's
that's
out.
out for bid right now.
So that's gonna be ahead of West Park?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right. You guys have anything? Okay. Anything else for the public?
You know, we're gonna do this expansion of the park. Cleves has a big man, field's not over there. We offer thought about getting together and recreation with the Cleves. So we're utilizing all properties together as a township. You know, we've never thought of that. And we did it with the fire department. But that's just something down the line we really need to think about.
Well, there would be more money for the township out of our pocket. That's how I look at it, because they can keep up with their fields.
But I know that it's not much money. I'm just saying,
I'm not
for our
going
area.
to take over something that that's managed for years. So that's how I feel. So,
Well, I guess we'll just.
I don't know,
Nice.
Tim, I feel different. But I don't even think we're allowed to spend in the village.
We would have to do it.
I think it would have to be a separate board and separately
Right.
funded.
I
A
mean,
lot of other townships do it.
if they feel differently, I don't know. We have 3 villages in the township.
Yeah, I know.
They normally,
It's just a thought.
Had a clean park in there that. What?
Oh, I know.
way more than ours.
I posted late down
Remember dumping a whole lot of money into Danny Graves Field, and that thing was ruined the next year. So. There was, the Reds dumped a whole bunch of money into that. Done next year, so.
We tried to get them, when they put that park in, to take 2 to 3 more years, put in filter, we leveled up with soccer field and keep water off of it. So now they live with it.
there. It was just a thought.
Okay, I know, that's fine. That's what we're here for. Any other thing, any other business for the public? All right, to the board, Mr. Robertson.
Obviously, we have there's summer concert tomorrow evening. If there's any questions, so we're happy to answer them, but start at 7:30. We publicized it quite a bit, so I know it's going to be higher than that, but the Boy Scouts assure me that water will be for sale, as well as their regular beverages. Yeah, hopefully everyone stays cool, but it's for a good turnout for that. And the only other thing I would like to bring up is the discussion back on the nuisance rights and properties. And I know I brought it up 2, 3, 4 times at this point, but I had a discussion with Mr. Brett, and now with our legal counsel weighing in again, we're now weighing in and saying that we need to adapt our process that we go through to make sure that we're in compliance with not only the ORC, but case law, current case law. And the recommendation is to go on private property. Again, I've talked to other township administrators, other township trustees about this issue, who have said that they would highly recommend that that an elected official doesn't try to do that. Really, they didn't think an administrator should have to do that. It could be a concern with someone that is not used to dealing with that. I've driven by some properties, taken pictures, talked to Jim, talked to Kim. I asked Jim about how much time he spent this past week, and you said on nuisance properties. What was your estimate about?
I'm guessing I spent probably 20 hours on that, and I'm guessing that Ms. Day spent at least 15.
This past week. So
Obviously, this is a busy time of year, but we've got some really bad properties that need followed up on, and we're not able to keep up with the volumes.
But between myself, Jim, Kim, and the safety issue, and case law and recommendations from our council and everything else, again, I would just bring up again my thought that I've heard nothing but talked to both the mayors of Cleves and Addiston, and both of them were singing the praise of this Ed Blimishman, who I've never met. I don't know who he is. I have no clue. This isn't like I'm trying to help out a buddy or anything. It was not but They said he's professional, they said he knows his stuff, they said he's good. I don't think that it's a good use of our administrator's time, he's spending 20 hours when we've got all these huge projects going on and everything else. You know, Ms. Day's overwhelmed with all the stuff she's got. I'm, again, trying to drive around, take pictures and this and that. I still think that we need to consider utilizing him. One of the properties Jim and I discussed, it was back about 4.5 years. So that has been going ongoing for about 4.5 years. So sending letters, and if they don't comply, they basically thumb their nose at us and say, well, take your letter and, you know, be filed in the garbage. We need to have some expertise that will stand up in court and can handle some of this stuff. So anyway, that's just some thoughts from me. And if you guys want to, you know, just continue to go the way we've been going, that's fine. But those are my thoughts. And I felt like particularly this past week or two, I think it highlighted, for me at least, that
Is he doing that process currently where he's taking pictures and posting things? Do you know if that's the process he's doing?
all I know is that I was told that he was very thorough and that he is very good at what he does and he follows through and that he knows the processes. I don't know if the process for a village is different than for a township. So I'm not positive exactly how it is, but, my understanding is that he's in real estate, you know, knows the do's and don'ts and coming and going, what's permitted and what's not. And I'm concerned for, it's not that I'm not concerned for his safety, but, you know, having myself or Jim or Kim or somebody walking up, and trying to find trees and posts and whatever. He does this for a living, he wants to do it.
Go ahead. Like that. You can see what services.
Get a break from him?
We did, he works by the hour, $25 an hour. You only pay him for when you use them, so.
I feel like that's something allowance too. It's the 8 years I did all this, I never once had to put a spin thing. We never once had to get reported. We sent the letter, sent the certified letter, and we went in. That's what happened. Or we both did happen. So I'll talk to Alex about it. That's my concern. So I did it for 8 years. So that's a good thing.
And are we done with that topic?
Sure.
Because I was somewhat negligent in remembering that I had a change to my administrator's report. We have the union contract that's open for
Yeah.
renewal, and I would like to see it back on that this evening so we can get that done.
All right, I'm here. Will you finish, Mr. Rivers? All right, I'm referring to Mr. Bullrat anyway.
Go right ahead if you want to.
Yep. Make a motion to accept the contract.
Any questions?
Yeah, is there, I guess, is there anything that either of the two of you want to highlight as far as any changes? And you don't have to share all of them, but is there anything you feel like is?
Things went back and forth pretty much. Well,
Their contract was last night. So.
yeah,
But this one will be online with CERT too. Probably the biggest change we made was updating the salaries to be competitive with neighboring departments.
What I'm saying was, sorry to interrupt. You guys reported, what, a month or two ago? Since then, does that change?
salaries.
Okay, okay. Because everything.
The minor wording
felt
changes.
comfortable with it.
But after the last one was turned down, the changes were insignificant for
All right, I will second.
All right. Mr. Bollrat? Yes. Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Just for wrap, you have anything else? All right, I have nothing more. So, Mr. Brett, do you have anything to follow up?
No, but I will need you to, everybody gets to autograph that.
Okay, so Joella.
Oh, we talked about the public hearing finance, so I'm good.
Okay, and that's July 17th, at 5:45 PM. All right,
Who wants to-
Mr. Brookings, do you have anything? We're getting ready to.
I actually do.
Okay, do you want to come on out?
Well, I can do that, that's fine.
Is it-
Yeah, and you may have already talked about this, I don't know, but I guess I'd like to have a status report on the pumping station over at Claves. No, we haven't heard anything back. You were gonna be giving us a scope of work, when it was gonna begin, and I've not yet heard anything back about it. So I'd like to know where we stand on that.
I was in talking with Mr. Winhusen. He said the EPA was not in favor of the location for various reasons, including the location of the fuel tank and the fact that, or at least that he told them about was with the village. And their comment was, that's not village property, it's waterworks property. The village council has no right to lease that property.
So you're
So
saying that,
you, I, and Eric need to have a discussion, otherwise we're gonna move it someplace else and get it put in.
and it would have been nice to have known that, ask the question tonight. I would be glad to talk to Mr. Hughes, but you're talking about the new building, you're saying that is owned by the Cleans Water Works.
That's what I was told.
I'm gonna find out.
And I assume that he had talked with you
I'm
about
gonna
that.
find out he is not talking. And the reason I guess I'm concerned about this is the fact that, you know, we went through quite a few discussions about this. And, you know, as far as the information is concerned, I would have expected to have some communication from you. The second question I have is, we also had discussions about a water line that was supposed to be installed. And I sat in those meetings with you, and you indicated to me that there was something that went on with, I'm not sure I understood it, that it dealt with the consultants you brought into the meeting with Cleans Water Works. I would like to have an update as to where do we stand and why do we stand that way? I did talk with Mr. Winhuse about this. He's not aware of any further discussions in the last meeting.
That's because I received their report today. We discussed it earlier in our meeting, and
Chuck Joseph.
I'll be glad to share that with you.
They talking about a water line?
Yeah, the one I told them a year ago, they're not gonna let you put it
Oh,
there.
okay.
Now they're.
He's gonna talk to us after the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you've seen this in writing from the EPA.
No,
So,
are we talking water line or?
well, let's go back to the one that's talking about, the one that you said was not a suitable site for the pumping station. That has been something that came directly from the EPA to you, or did it come to everyone?
Came to Eric and then to me.
So you have a copy.
No, Eric told me that. So I've not seen anything from the EPA. I don't know that he got anything in writing. He just told me that it wasn't gonna work, basically. And here's why.
Okay.
So what we discussed earlier was that I would like to have a meeting with you and Mr. Winhusen and Mr. Merkel so that we can get this out of the way one way or the other. Either it's going there or it's not. We're gonna put it someplace and we're not gonna wait much longer. Gotta put it someplace.
Well, it's not a problem to the village employees. So, I mean, you decide to put it elsewhere, that's your business. I will talk with Eric, but I really wish
Well, we
we
would-
would have had more conversation. And we haven't had those. And I was just asking in the future, if we're gonna partner with Miami Township on things, that there's actually communication that comes back and forth. So,
As I said, I would have assumed that
well,
Cleans Waterworks would have talked with
you
you.
know the old saying about soup.
Make an ass out of your name.
All right, thank you, Chuck. For Mr. Wilkie.
Second.
Mr. Bland,
Yes.
Mr. Volrath,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
All right, thanks for coming, everyone.
Okay.